This story was sent to me by someone named Daniel, and to this day, he says he can't sleep with his closet door closed. And once you hear what happened, you might feel the same way. Daniel was 14 when this took place. His best friend Ethan was spending the night while both sets of parents were out at a late event. Nothing unusual. The boys had sleepovers all the time. They spent the evening doing what most teenagers do: junk food, gaming, talking about school drama. By around midnight, they finally crashed in Daniel's room. Daniel's house was quiet, sitting at the edge of a wooded area in their town. The kind of quiet where you can hear your own heartbeat. They were dozing off when Ethan suddenly sat up. "Dude, do you hear that?" Daniel groggily opened his eyes. There was a faint sound, breathing. But it wasn't either of them. It was coming from the closet. Now, Daniel's closet didn't have one of those sliding doors. It had an old, heavy wooden door that squeaked whenever you opened it. They'd always joked about it being creepy because of how deep it went. It was built into the wall, like a little room. At first, Daniel thought it was the wind, but then the breathing stopped, and something tapped, once, against the inside of the door. Ethan whispered, "Your cat's in there or something, right?" But Daniel's cat had been outside all day. Trying to play it cool, Daniel grabbed a flashlight and swung the closet door open. The beam of light swept over jackets, shoes, and shelves. Nothing looked out of place. But then, the flashlight flickered and caught something odd. A cell phone sitting on the closet floor. It wasn't either of theirs. Daniel picked it up. The screen was cracked, but still working. The camera app was open, and it had been recording the entire night. At this point, Ethan wasn't laughing anymore. Daniel stopped the recording and scrolled back to the start. Most of the footage was dark and silent, but around an hour earlier, the video clearly captured their voices, laughing, talking, playing games, and over their voices was the sound of someone else breathing, closer than the closet, like they were already in the room. Both boys freaked out and called Daniel's parents, who told them to call 911 immediately. When the police arrived, they searched the entire house. They found nothing unusual at first, but when one of the officers inspected the closet more closely, he noticed something the boys hadn't. The back wall had a faint seam running down the middle. It wasn't just a wall, it was a door. Behind the closet was a hidden crawl space that ran between the walls of the house. And inside that space, they found signs someone had been living there: a sleeping bag, empty food wrappers, and dozens of photos, printed photos of Daniel and his family. Some were taken through windows, some from inside the house. But that wasn't the worst part. The cell phone they'd found didn't belong to the intruder. It was Daniel's mom's old phone, reported missing 2 years earlier, meaning whoever was living in the walls had been watching them for a long time. Police never found the person. No fingerprints, no DNA. It was like they'd slipped out of the crawl space and into the woods before the officers arrived. Daniel's family moved within a month. They never stayed another night in that house. But Daniel told me this. Sometimes when he's alone, he still hears the breathing, even when the closet door is wide open. This story came from a girl named Marissa. She said it's the reason she never lets her daughter play with Ouija boards, and after hearing what happened, you'll understand why. Marissa was 13 at the time. Her best friend Lily was turning 14 and throwing a birthday sleepover. It wasn't just the two of them. 3 other girls from school were invited too. The plan was simple: pizza, movies, junk food, and staying up all night. It started out just like every other sleepover. But sometime around 1 in the morning, things took a turn. They were getting bored of movies and truth or dare. That's when Lily pulled out an old Ouija board she'd found in her grandma's attic. It wasn't one of those cheap plastic ones from the toy store. This board looked ancient. The letters were hand-carved, and the planchette was made of dark, polished wood. "I thought it would be funny to try it," Lily said. Everyone giggled nervously. They turned off the lights, except for a string of purple fairy lights that barely lit the room. At first, nothing happened. They asked silly questions. "Does Jake from school like me? When will we be rich?" Then Lily asked, "Is there anyone here with us?" The planchette slid to YES. Everyone gasped and accused each other of moving it. But Marissa wasn't so sure. The air in the room had gone cold. So cold she could see her breath. One of the girls, Tara, whispered, "Let's stop." "This isn't funny." They all agreed and put the board away. That should have been the end of it. It wasn't. Around 3 in the morning, Marissa woke up needing the bathroom. The room was dark except for the glow of the fairy lights. As she got up, she noticed something strange. The other girls were asleep in their sleeping bags, but their shadows weren't. The shadows on the walls were standing, some facing toward her, some moving slightly like they were breathing. She thought it was a trick of the light. She rubbed her eyes, looked again. The shadows were still standing, and when she stepped closer to Lily's sleeping bag, the shadow didn't follow her friend. It stepped back into the corner of the room. Marissa froze. She wanted to wake the others but was too scared. Instead, she whispered, "Stop. Please." The shadows turned, all of them, and in perfect unison, they walked into the closet, disappearing into the darkness. Marissa didn't sleep the rest of the night. By morning, the room was full of sunlight and everything seemed normal, except for Tara. She was acting strange, not just sleepy, weird. She didn't laugh at jokes like usual. She barely touched her pancakes. And when her mom came to pick her up, she looked at Tara and frowned. "That's not my daughter," she said quietly. Everyone thought it was just a tired mom making a weird comment. But over the next week, Tara changed more. She stopped responding to texts, quit the school band, and when Marissa tried to visit her house, Tara's mom refused to open the door. Finally, Marissa got a call from Lily. She was crying. She'd tried to FaceTime Tara, but instead of connecting, the call opened a dark, grainy video. It showed the 5 of them, sleeping in their bags, the shadows standing over them. And at the end of the video, one of the shadows stepped into Tara's body. The police were called. They searched Tara's house, but the family had vanished. No signs of a break-in, no forwarding address, no trace, just an empty room where Tara's bed had been, and etched into the wooden floor beneath it, the same symbol from the old Ouija board. Marissa never saw Tara again, but sometimes when she walks past certain houses at night, she swears she can see a shadow standing in the upstairs window, and it doesn't belong to anyone living there. This story was sent to me by a guy named Jordan, and it's why he says he'll never stay at a farmhouse again, no matter how cheap or peaceful it looks. Jordan was 15 when this happened. His friend Wes lived on a farm at the edge of a small town. That summer, Wes invited Jordan and 2 other friends, Kevin and Marcus, for a weekend sleepover. The farmhouse was huge and old, surrounded by open fields and patches of forest. It wasn't fancy, but to 4 teenage boys it was perfect. No parents watching every move, no curfews, just video games, campfires, and freedom. Or so they thought. The first night went normally. They played Xbox, roasted marshmallows outside, and told scary stories until past midnight. That's when Jordan noticed a light flicker across the field. It came from an old house sitting far beyond the tree line. A single upstairs window glowed faintly. Jordan pointed it out. "What's that place?" Wes shrugged. "It's abandoned, been empty for years. We call it the Holloway House. Some old couple lived there, but after a fire, no one moved in. Kevin grinned. Bet it's haunted. Everyone laughed, but the light kept flickering. Later, as they were getting ready for bed in Wes's room, Marcus dared Jordan, "Flash a light at it, see if it answers." Wes grabbed a flashlight from his nightstand and handed it over. "Go for it." Jordan hesitated, then walked to the window and clicked the flashlight on and off 3 times. A simple, harmless signal. Seconds passed, then flash. A light blinked back. At first, they thought it was a coincidence. Maybe someone camping nearby, so Jordan did it again. 3 flashes. The other light answered, but this time it flashed 4 times, almost like it was responding. They all gathered at the window, whispering theories and hyping each other up. Kevin joked, maybe it's Morse code, maybe it says get lost. But the next time they flashed the light, the reply didn't come from the house. It came from closer. The light now flickered at the edge of the field, much nearer than before. Jordan's stomach dropped. It moved. The others thought he was messing with them, until they flashed again, and the answering light flickered halfway across the field. No sound, no footsteps, just a silent, steady approach. That's when Wes's dog, usually lazy and calm, started growling at the door, low, deep, like it sensed something the boys couldn't see. Jordan whispered, "We should stop." Seriously. But Marcus, trying to act tough, flashed the light again, 3 times. This time, there was no reply. Only the sound of something brushing against the window screen. They spun around. Nothing was outside the window, no light, no figure, just the vast, dark field. But the dog kept growling, eyes fixed on the corner of the room. An empty corner, or so they thought. Wes grabbed the flashlight and swung the beam across the field. Nothing. But when he turned it toward the old house, the light passed right through it, like it wasn't solid. And when Jordan looked closer, he realized something horrifying. The house didn't cast a shadow, because the house wasn't there. In the morning, they told Wes's dad everything. He listened calmly, then said something that chilled them all. "The Holloway house burned down 5 years ago. We tore out what was left. There's nothing there now but grass." Wes argued, "But we saw it, the light, the window." His dad just shook his head. "No house, no lights. You boys must have been imagining things." Determined to prove they weren't, Jordan led the group across the field. When they reached where the house had stood, all they found was a flat, empty clearing. No foundation, no debris, no signs anything had ever stood there, except a circle of ash. And in the center, an old flashlight, still warm to the touch. That night, the boys slept downstairs with every light on. They never saw the light again. But Jordan told me something he noticed years later. In old photos of Wes's family farm, the Holloway house was visible. Tall, proud, shadowed by the trees. But in every photo after the fire, if you looked closely, there was still a faint outline where the house had been, and in some shots, a small single light in the upstairs window.